You're right, lads. This is the GeordieJedi here. Hope you've had a good Christmas. Personally, it was a bit dodgy seeing as we lost against Sunderland. But apart from that, actually, it's been alright. So I hope you've had a Merry Christmas. Now, as you all know, whenever we have Christmas, we also have Boxing Day matches the day after. And Newcastle United face Manchester United at Old Trafford. And we've just lost 3-1. Similar results to basically the past three games, which is the Tyne and Wear Derby loss, the loss against Tottenham, and the loss against Arsenal. It's not that we've played badly, and it's basically we made them look better than they actually were. 4-1 was an overstatement. 4-0 was an overstatement. Sunderland winning it was an overstatement. We deserved to win, but you know, and similar with today. I'll give Pardew his props for today. He set what up actually. He set what up right at the beginning, but what he didn't do was same kind of thing again as against the Derby. He didn't have a plan B. Tactically, he actually set what up really well. He had three at the back with wing backs basically and Jan Martin Gouffran. Basically, he did exactly what Louis Van Gaal did, or Van Gaal does, and he tried to use it against him. It didn't work, but he kept trying to do it. He would not change. Why Cabela didn't start? The only logical reason I can see is that he wants to play him against Everton and start him there. That's the only fucking thing I can think of that he might have been trying to do in the end. Right, game started, and actually to begin with we did look quite good. We were probably just as good as Man U for probably about maybe 20 minutes. Then, just after that, actually is Armstrong, who started today in his first Premier League start and didn't go that well for him. He took a shot, it got blocked on the left side of the pitch, and then because we nicked the ball back, we would just nick the ball back. Everybody moved up, and then they win the ball instantly, and then they're right on the run. Pretty much starts off with Rooney, ends up at Juan Mata, goes across to Falcao. Now Falcao, who was on the right side of the post, he could have shot near post and probably would have scored, but he decided that Rooney who was just basically slap bang in the middle, had a much better chance. So he passed it straight to Rooney, right in the middle, and Rooney had a simple tap in for his 11th goal against Newcastle United. 1-0. It was against the run of play a bit, but the goal could have went either way, really. I mean, we had a pretty good chance ourselves at one point. So, we'll take what we can get. We'll take what happens, more specifically. Now, after this is, in my personal opinion, if you didn't start Cabela off now, this is probably when you bring him on. Really, I thought, because something that was a bit lacking was Gouffran's problem was that Gouffran wasn't really linking up on the left side of the midfield. Sissoko was doing his absolute best. He had a good game. Relatively speaking, he had a pretty good game. As did Jose Perez, who again they kept trying to link up on the right side, but there was nobody on the left. Then we had our own chance. We had Jose Perez, who had an alright game today. He ran forward. He just kept running. He just kept running and he kept running, and eventually 3 Man U defenders ended up quashing him out because he kept the ball too long. That was the only problem with the move. He kept it a little bit too long, and that happened quite a bit. We kept people who could get on runs. Gouffran tried, I believe. Sissoko, he had a good run as well, and we held on just that little bit too long. They should have passed, but no. But you see, the thing is that we can complain, oh, you should have passed, but if they scored from it, I wouldn't be seeing this. So then about maybe 35 minutes in, they got another goal. Rooney again. I can't argue too much with this one, but it was a pretty not much of an annoying one to concede. And we were 2-0 down now. This now we went in half time at 2-0. An overstatement, but not by much. In fairness, as soon as the first goal went in, Manu seemed to be a bit more comfortable, but we were still getting chances, so we're still out. Now at half time, this is when Pardew had his chance to change things, to bring Cabela on earlier than earlier than he eventually did. Bring Cabela on, bring Papa Cisse on for Armstrong, because Armstrong, he wasn't having a good game. He seemed his physicality is there. His sort of his skills are there. Even he can beat a man and he can pull off a good shot. But what's lacking is his decision making. It was the same in the Tyne and Wear Derby. His decision making was lacking. He either went for it or he went back. That's the only problem. That's the only thing he needs to work on is his decision making, and it just didn't happen. So he should have made changes there. But did he? No, fucking no. Of course he didn't. Then, they came out, pretty no changes. The idiot. Van Persie scores. Probably about 60 minutes in, I'd say. Van Persie properly scores, and a nice setup by Rooney. In fairness, I've got no. The goals themselves. There's nothing wrong with the goals. It's just that it shouldn't be happening. Not that easily. As soon as the third goal went in, we lost all passion. Basically, the players who were shown passion, because there weren't many of them to begin with, they gave up. Sissoko just sort of gave up. Everybody just sort of gave up. I mean, there were a couple of people that tried. Cabela, when he came on, him and Cisse in the 65th minute, Cabela for Dummit, Colback went left back for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, why couldn't Colback stay where he was and you bring on Haidara? No, apparently not. Brings on Cabela, so Colback has to play left back. Brings off Armstrong now to bring Cisse on. Then Cabela looked like he wanted to do something and he tried his very, very best. But when you're by yourself and you're the only man who wants to do something, there's nothing you can do. Then, probably about 85th minute, thereabouts, Colback gets it on the left because he's now left back, of course. Runs into the box. He'd already passed the ball, but Phil Jones left his leg out inside the box. Colback goes over. We'll get a nice penalty. Nothing to be thrilled about. It was the 85th minute. Nothing was really going to happen from it. Even if we scored, which we did. There was a little bit of banter. Cabela wanted to take it. Cisse said, nah, I'll take it. I'm the penalty taker. There wasn't much argument. There was talk, but there wasn't much argument. Cisse went for it. Sissoko was also hanging around. But eventually, Cisse took it. And in fairness, it was actually a really good penalty. Top right-hand corner. Cool and calm, just out of De Gea's reach. De Gea went the right way. It was just out of his reach. It was perfectly placed. 3-1. The game goes on. Vukic comes on. Eventually for Perez. I'm assuming to give Perez a rest for Everton. Because to be honest, Perez was quite good. His decision making was a little bit off. But at least he was dribbling. He beat people. Full-time whistle. That's about it. We lose 3-1. And we've only had one win in the last 5 games. Premier League games, at least. And that was against Chelsea. But not one of them really have we played absolutely utter shite. We haven't. We've never looked horrible. We've made them look better because we don't seem to have any passion. For some reason, it seems to have been, ever since Chelsea, it seems to be kicked out of us. We don't seem bothered anymore. Only maybe 3 players out of 11 seem like they care on any one day. It even chop and changes. Some days it's Steven Taylor. Some days it's Tiote. Some days it isn't Papa Cisse. That kind of thing. Pardew's just having a real problem motivating everybody into one kind of thinking. Everton at home on Sunday. That should be an alright match, really. Well, we'll see how it goes. Then it's home against Burnley. Burnley will have to win. I'm sorry, it's just the way fans are, but we'll have to win that game. This being the GeordieJedi. Leave a like if you can, it really helps. Subscribe for more videos. And may the force be with you.